You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, it is Friday the 11th of April 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And you may recall yesterday I couldn't decide whether I was going to record the podcast in the car park after I finished work or in the break between landing from Prague and taking the flight out to, I keep wanting to say Strasbourg, but it's not, it's Stuttgart. Somewhat predictably, I am now on the roof of the crew car park. It's right next to the runway, so what you can hear there is, it looks like a 777, but it might be a 7, it could be anything. It's an aeroplane taking off. And there's me it's going to take me an hour and a half to get home. It's 20 to 11 now, so if I don't record it now, you won't get a podcast today. And I would feel guilty if I deprived you of my dulcet tones. So yeah, we arrived, when did I record yesterday? Yeah, I recorded from Prague, didn't I? Well, didn't get an awful lot done in Prague. It was our shortest turnaround, so to be fair, I didn't really plan to. It took me a little while to get to sleep, although I did actually get to sleep. I didn't have the awful sleeping problems I had the last couple of nights, so that was good. And one of the decisions I made that I think was quite sensible was that I kind of decided that if I was awake when breakfast was being served, I would go to breakfast, and if I wasn't, I wouldn't. And I wasn't, so I didn't. But it was okay because we flew from Strasbourg, wherever it was in Germany, Stuttgart, back to Heathrow, and got into, it was just about lunchtime actually, and we had again what we called an airside turn. So that was a Virgin Atlantic taking off. That looks like a 787. Anyway, it looked like we had a decent amount of time. We had about 2 hours before we had to be at the gate for our next flight. So all of the crew, all four of us, decided it'd be quite nice, rather than grabbing a meal sort of between between things we had to do at work, it'd be quite nice to sit down together and have something to eat. So we found somewhere to eat and had food, with knives and forks that weren't made out of wood or plastic. And just sat down and had a meal together. It was just really pleasant. As crew, you sometimes do that down route, but it's the first time I've ever done it at Heathrow on a turnaround, and it was a really nice crew. It's always the way. The ones you really get on with, you never ever see again. So we did that, and then we went to the gate and we did our flight to I keep wanting to say Strasbourg, my brain's died, Stuttgart and back, and it wasn't too long a day, and it was quite nice. And now I'm back at the car park recording this so that you do get a podcast today. Basically. So that was really nice. I'm trying to think what else I can say. Oh, the other thing I did do today, which I'm very pleased about. Who's that? Let's see if I can make out what that is. I can't make out what that is because it's dark. It looks like, I don't know, it's an aeroplane. What was I saying? Oh, the one thing I did get to do yesterday, which I'm very, very pleased about. I went to bed and then I thought, and I couldn't stay, I wasn't tired, even though I was tired, my brain wasn't switching off. And one of the things I'm terrible with is messing about on my phone if I'm not sleeping. And of course the dopamine kick then makes you sleep even less. So I want to actually start getting into the habit of putting my phone downstairs and charging it downstairs. And obviously I can't do that when I'm in a hotel room because somebody will nick it. So I might try and do that. But last night, so I couldn't sleep, and I thought, this is going to be bad again, because I was worried what state I'd be in if I hadn't slept before the flight today. Luckily I did eventually sleep. But one of the things I did to help me sleep, rather than have the dopamine rubbish on my phone, I got on a laptop and I read the last 30 pages of Still Life. And I didn't rush it, I read it slowly, and I did make a few little changes. So that bit is done. The actual read through of the paperback is done, and I'm really pleased with it. It hangs together very, very well. Obviously I've read it quite a few times, so none of the twists, even the bits that used to make me cry, don't really anymore because I've read it so many times. But I'm very, very pleased with it. So at some point over the next few days, and I can't tell you when it's going to be when I find the time. It could even be Sunday morning, we'll see. But what I want to do is a live stream where I run all of the chapters through Grammarly again. And once I've done that, I shall knit them all together into one big file, because at the moment they're broken up into individual files for the chapters. Once I've done that, I shall go through my common mistakes, the one that I read out to you probably 3 or 4 days ago, but it feels like months ago. So go through, find and replace, basically iron out all of the errors that I know I make, like instead of as if and as though, all that kind of stuff. Get that all done, and then I'm done. And what I'm going to do then is because it will all be in one file then, I shall turn it into a properly Kindle book formatted PDF. I shall use Amazon's KDP to do a test print copy, a bit like the one I've just got, only with the last few updates changed, and I will get a copy sent to myself as a proof and read it one more time, but hopefully I'll just be able to read it for enjoyment this time, because I don't think there's anything more I'm going to need to check. Now, of course, it's quite likely that I will find the odd thing, and I'm not going to deny myself the opportunity to make the odd edit if I find something that I really don't like, but I can't imagine there's going to be very much. And when I've done that, that is the book signed off. And at that point, there's a couple of friends of mine who want to read it. So I will send them physical paper copies, because most of them have said all of them who want to read it have said they'd rather read a physical paper copy than an ebook or a Kindle format. Anyway, about to drive home, off to Copenhagen tomorrow. Just one night in Copenhagen and then back on Sunday. And we go quite late tomorrow and quite late, and we get back quite late on Sunday, so much less tiring than what I've done for the last 4 days. Anyway, thank you for listening. I'll be back at some point tomorrow. Bye bye. You have been listening to the Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.